Hello there, and welcome to the CP7 podcast. My name's Palm.
And I'm Andy.
And together, we are Chrono Passion 7. Hello, and welcome back to your favourite watch-related podcast. We're back from Watches and Wonders. We've recovered just about. What was the best thing to do? Make this show and tell you all about our experience there. Andy, how are you feeling, mate? Are you recovered, or is it just me?
Just about. Like, you always make fun of me for saying this, but it almost felt like jet lag.
That
how
1
do you
hour...
get jet lag from that 1 hour flight in the same time zone? I think it just really jades you somehow. Like, you're just going non-stop, and I use this, right, when we were talking about it. It's a bit like being in Las Vegas in a casino, and you're just in this artificial light, never knowing what really the time of day is, which is kind of funny for a watch event.
Yeah, no daylight pumping in unnatural oxygen.
Exactly that. But it's incredible, I will say that. But it was nice to decompress for a week. And I think also collect our thoughts, right? I think that's important.
It's definitely important. And collect our breath back as well, of course.
And our sanity.
Yeah, our sanity. And stop looking at watches. But no, we're ready to talk all about them today. We're going to go through quite a bit. We've got a lot of watches to go through. But we kind of thought everyone's done the reviews. They've shown what was out there. We're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to tell you about our experience, our second visit there, what we saw, who we saw, the watches we loved, the things that made us laugh most, the things that disappointed us perhaps, just the whole experience. This show is all about the experience, the aesthetics, the feeling, and of course, plenty of watches. But talking of watches, Andy, what have you got on your wrist?
I must have picked up some kind of virus whilst in Geneva because I picked up a new watch. So I got back on Friday, and then on Monday I was wearing a new piece. So I picked up the Chopard St. Moritz in two-tone, steel and gold. A very, very funky watch. You maybe love it, you maybe hate it, or you might look at it a few times and it may grow on you over time. The one I have has a diamond dial as well, so diamond indices, so it's so cool, I'm not going to lie. I really, really like it. It's actually knocked the Tudor off the top spot, I'm sorry to say. It just feels so me, very, very wearable, very slim, really, really pops in the light. Such a unique looking piece with bags of character, and yeah, it's the only watch I'm wearing since picking it up. It's a watch that I didn't know I needed, and I'm so glad that I took the pun on it and took the opportunity when it came available. So that's what I'm rocking. A bit different, but how about yourself, Pam?
You know, I just heard a scream. That might have been the Submariner, knowing its fate, its destiny.
What, collecting dust in the watch roll?
Does he know he's a goner?
I'm a Chopard man now.
That's it. Here we go. All right, okay.
That's all I need.
That's an integrated bracelet watch. I've got a little theory, which I'll talk about after I've done mine. So, what am I wearing? Okay, I am wearing a new watch as well. It's a watch I picked up at the British Watchmakers Show last month. It is from a brand called Arken, a brand I think is uber cool. It's the Arken Alterum, and this is their speakeasy version. So you have to keep these a bit quiet. Kenneth Lamb from Arken, who we did actually meet out in Geneva, and ironically I was wearing this watch. He's created this watch in his Alterum range, and you're not really supposed to post it on social media. It's your property, you can do, but it's kind of like an unwritten rule that you don't really do it. So I don't post this on Instagram. It will be in the show notes though, because we have to give you the best audio-visual experience. So it's got a dual-time GMT function. It's 39mm. It's titanium, rubber strap. It's got very unique case shape. And the cool thing about this is that the titanium case is covered in a ceramic-based material called Cerakote, and it's in this almost khaki brown kind of military-esque colour. And if you see the watch, you'll just think, wow. I had no intention of buying a watch from the show. I spoke to Ken. I saw the Alterum. I thought, okay, that's nice. I like that. It's a watch I like a lot. And then he goes, oh, I've got this one as well, but this is the Speakeasy. This is the one that we don't talk about. Like the Speakeasy, you never talk about it. You just, if you know, you know. And literally on the spot said, right, I'll take one. And I just received it a couple of weeks ago before Watches and Wonders. And I got to say, very, very cool watch. It does remind me a little bit of the old Timex Iron Man. It's got that kind of look. And to turn that really cool sports digital watch into a proper sports mechanical watch with the Miyota movement, that's quite an achievement. So that's what I've got on my wrist.
Very cool. Yeah, it was great to try that actually in Geneva as well. Very funky looking piece.
The colour of the ceramic coating on the case, it's just, that was the winner, and the sort of textured dial as well. Very cool watch, very good to see. Check out the show notes on our website at www.chronopassion7, the number 7.com. And you'll get to see an exclusive picture of this watch. It won't be on social media. Now, it's Watches and Wonders 2025 time. Andy, what were your feelings? What were your emotions like, your feelings the day before and the morning of? What was going through your head?
I think both of us being slight fashionistas, it was, do I have enough shirts? Are my outfits good enough? Do I need another tie? Silly stuff, what's maybe not that important, but it's all about the, we want to maintain a certain image, I suppose. So, yeah, working out how to smuggle more jackets than what I should really take on the plane. Flying EasyJet, of course, from Barcelona, as they're just the most convenient flights. But there's certain hacks to getting more stuff on the plane, which I use, like using a plastic suit bag. So it looks like it's just one suit in a bag, but it's not. It's like 3 jackets or something like that I'm smuggling on. I'm going to never say anything. So, yeah, if you ever want to sneak some jackets on or additional clothing on EasyJet, that's a trick for you. They'll let you do it. But other than that, just the anxiety. I always get a bit anxious personally when traveling. Like, once I'm on the plane and I'm on my way there, I'm chill. It's just the whole build-up. It's Watches and Wonders. It's the big one. Have to be there. Yeah, I guess we have a lot riding on it, right? It's just all the commitments you've already made with individuals who you're going to meet there, the brands who you're going to see, and you just want everything to go smoothly. So once there, I'm super chill, but I have slight anxiety, just I think because of all the excitement. But how about yourself, Palm?
Yeah, I didn't feel prepared at all the night before. I'd overpacked. But then again, I don't think I did. I felt like I was overpacking, but I think I did all right, actually. One thing, though, I made an 11th hour decision to get a cab to the airport. Because they give you a lot of merch sometimes. You need extra baggage to take it home. Otherwise, you're leaving half of it in Geneva, and that's quite a waste because some of it is really good. I didn't get the London Underground to the airport, the tube. I took a cab, and talking of 11th hour decisions, I literally had a coat on and I thought, oh, this is a bit too thick. Threw it down on the sofa and picked up another coat, a thinner one, my barber jacket, opened the door, the cab was there, got my bag, started wheeling my bags, and just something in my mind clicked. There was something in that jacket. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, got halfway towards the cab, and then I thought, it's my passport. So I literally had to run back in. Had I not just remembered that,
you
that
didn't
would
tell
have
me
just
this.
been. Oh no, I didn't say that. I just remembered it, and it was just like, oh my God! Can you imagine how just the nightmare scenario? I am so glad that something was just playing on my mind that there's something not quite right here. Thank the maker for that. Got to the plane. It was a bit of a delay, but got to Geneva safe and sound, and met Andy at the airport. That was it. I mean, nice smooth flight. There's not really much to say now about our journey, unlike last year where we nearly ended up in the German mountains. This time it was all quite easy.
It was all good. I had maybe a 3-hour wait for Palm's arrival, but I kept myself busy with the famous quiche and a couple of pints, so it was fine.
We landed in Geneva safe and sound, both of us, and our first wasn't an appointment, it was a party. Our first party was with Jacob & Co. at the Four Seasons Hotel in central Geneva. It didn't let us down, did it?
It sure didn't. No, quality as always, as you come to expect with Jacob, right? Nice atmosphere, and yeah, I think with this being our second time at Watches and Wonders, our approach was maybe slightly different, and we took things easy. And I think it was just us catching up a little bit, speaking to some of our friends, of course, who we know over at Jacob, and then enjoying the atmosphere and just getting ready, right? Getting in the mindset of what's to come. But I think we took it pretty calm, relaxed, just, eased ourselves into it, let's say.
Yeah, I think we took it in our stride. And this is our second year, as Andy just said. We felt a bit more prepared. And it was almost like, right, there's 4 days of absolute mayhem, but absolute fun as well ahead of us. And it was just the expectation of what's to come. You had the new releases that no one knew about. You had, well, at that point, no one knew about them. And just looking forward to the whole event and just looking forward to what we're going to see. Just the mystery of what lay ahead of us was just quite exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Had a nice meal after, right? We went to some... What did we have?
Thai restaurant, yeah.
What is Thai? Yeah, it was good, right?
I don't know what it was called. I can't even remember. But
no, I can't remember. I mean, it was good, right? The restaurant was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good restaurant, yeah. It's called The Good Restaurant. There we go.
The Good, yeah, Good Right. That's the name of it.
The Good Thai Restaurant. There you go, yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it was chill.
And we actually were quite sensible. We didn't go nuts. Got back to the hotel relatively early for these kind of events because the next morning we had a big appointment with a big brand, so we couldn't be late. And that brand was Tudor. So we got back and thought, right, we'll be nice and refreshed for them.
Yeah, and while we were relaxing, suddenly Instagram was popping off, right? And the Rolex leaks were true with a land dweller, and everything just started to be released early. I'm like, what's going on? Rolex released early, Tudor released early. And I think somebody, you don't know because you hear many stories, but a friend of mine told me that apparently there was like a security breach. Basically, all the information could be extracted. So before somebody else leaked all the information, the brands wanted to make it public rather than some leaker, which is completely understandable. Hence why people were finding out about the new pieces like at midnight, rather than finding out around 9 or 10 a.m. the next day, right? So how do you feel about that? For me, I think it's a shame.
Spoiled it.
Like,
yeah,
I think it spoils it. Yeah. You can wait, right? That's the whole point of it. It's something to look forward to. It's something exciting. Personally, when I found out about it, like obviously the ones what we had already seen, then of course you've seen it. But
yeah,
I didn't actively want to see like Tudor's new releases because I know the reason why they released a bit early online, but I wanted to have the experience of just seeing them in the metal, in the flesh, in the next day. So for me, I didn't even check out Tudor out of the respect of I wanted to enjoy the first appointment with them. So for me, I didn't geek out on Tudor at all until it was a moment to do so at the event. But yeah, it's a shame when that happens.
Yeah, I think it spoils it. You've got in, you're there, you want to see it as it comes out. Leaks just kind of, it's like a movie. You find out what the end of the movie is before you've even gone in, and it's a bit crap.
Yeah,
but
it's like the ending, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I remember a couple of years ago when Tudor released the Black Bay Pro, and it looked like the 1655 Freccione, the Explorer 2, the original, the OG, and there was such a buzz on Instagram and social media. And myself personally, as that's one of my favorite watches, was like, wow, look what they've done. They've done this. Oh, I'm going to buy it. I never did buy it. But there was a buzz about something that was a remake of an older model and no one knew about it. And it just came out like that. And it would have been nice to have been there and seen it that way rather than on Instagram, which is not the end of the world, but it did kind of spoil it a little bit, yeah.
It dampens the experience. Like, I suppose if you're not going there, if you're not there, then even then, you kind of want the build-up. It's a whole energy. You want to see the proper coverage of the watches as well, rather than just some leaked images where you're not sure if it's genuine or not. But look, that's the world. That's the industry. That's how it. It's just how it is, right?
I just want to say, if you've been living in a cave, we're talking about the land dweller. We're talking about the turquoise Daytona, the GMT root beer Tiger dial, the 70-year celebration of the GMT Master 2 left-hand drive green dial, new coloured OPs, these...
1608, right, in full gold.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That's my favourite.
That was the best looking watch, but I like what Rolex did with the Land Dweller, with this new movement, new caliber, this Dynapulse escapement. They're trying something new.
5 Hertz monster.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the 6 and the 9 on the model, because it was an oyster quartz with a kind of Explorer dial. But one thing people complained about was the honeycomb dial. Oh, why have they done that? And I think, on a personal note, I think everyone's complaining. They put new technology in it. They've reintroduced an old model, which is the oyster quartz. But even before then, there was an automatic movement in that case, which, ironically, a friend of mine was in Japan a couple of weeks ago, and he was mentioning he wanted that. I don't know if he had some insight into them releasing it or something, but he was sending me pictures saying, I'm buying this. So you never know if he was the guy who leaked it all. I doubt it. They did something different, and people were still poking a little bit, poking at them a little. Oh, why do they do this? Why do they do that?
I think it's fantastic. Like, if I was in a position to buy one, hell yeah. If it was between like a normal date just of a Land Dweller for me,
yeah,
all day, every day. I think it's like being an oyster quartz fan anyway. I think linking back to this chopard, actually,
I know this is my observation.
Unconscious thing.
Yeah, exactly. Has he bought an integrated bracelet watch as a direct result of the Land Dweller? And is it a direct result? Is it an indirect result of the Cubitus?
Yeah, let us know. It's a mix of everything.
Answers on a postcard. Yeah, so
I don't know. I got some kind of bug, but it's funny that it represents a few favourite watches. I did like the Land Dweller, Cartier Santos, the newer, smaller size, and it represents a few of these watches. So,
and the smaller Cubitus is really good. It looks really good in the metal, in
gold.
The flesh.
But we digress. I guess we should get into the whole review of Watches and Wonders 2025, right? And yeah, just a few more stories, I guess, before we get into it.
Just
one thing.
One story. Yeah, just one story. Go on, Andy.
Well, as sometimes, as many of you may be aware, Geneva can be very expensive around the time, especially of Watches and Wonders in particular. So our hotel, in this instance, was on the French border, but the more convenient side of the French border, unlike the previous year. So we didn't end up in Germany or anything like this. Better situated, I would say, than if you were in Geneva for getting to the expo itself. So it was quite convenient, the location. However, transport, it was non-existent. You can't get an Uber from that side of the border. We didn't know what bus to get. And Palm, you were speaking right to just with your best of your French ability to people at the bus stop, right? Trying to get any kind of information how to get to the expo and if there's any taxis available. And just as you were doing that, a taxi pulled up, right?
I was talking to this guy. We saw on Google Maps, it said, get the 66 bus. And they go, no, this is the 60. But it goes there as well. And it was just like a really confusing conversation. And there's no taxis. And as I was talking to this guy, in the corner of my eye, I just see this taxi drive past. And I literally jumped. I've not jumped that high, with my hand in the air,
running
waving.
Down the street.
And luckily he pulled up. And then we got a cab. And a really cool driver called Mikhail, who drove us there every morning for the whole week as well. So that was a bit of, he saved us. Otherwise we'd have been on that bus. This story would have gone on forever as well. Yeah. So really cool guy, turned up on time. So if you need a good cabbie in Geneva or on the French border,
yeah,
then let us know. We can hook you up.
He was a legend. Yeah. He literally, imagine if that didn't have happened. Like the complications getting to the expo on time every day, like the rigmarole of it all. So yeah, so lucky we found him, and then it just made the whole trip super smooth, right? Every morning, perfect,
easy,
and that's it. Yeah, we were there day one. We made it.
Day two, that was. Day one of Watches and Wonders. Day two,
day one of Watches and Wonders. Day two of the trip. Yeah,
and We did say we'll try a bit of Instagram for you guys when we got there. We did an Instagram live, so check out our Instagram, the Chrono Passion 7 Instagram, if you want to see us literally walking in to the expo, showing you exactly what to expect as you go in, how big the booths are, what the vibe is. It was first thing in the morning. It wasn't that busy, but it certainly got busy a bit later on. But you could just sense the excitement that people had and just the whole Watches and Wonders fever that was going on. And we did a bit of a walk round. Obviously, Rolex was probably where everyone wanted to go. We went straight to the booth. We got some window shots of the watches. So check it out on our Instagram if you want to. So that's it goes on for about 5 minutes. It's a nice little intro, a nice little walk-in to Palexpo and Watches and Wonders, which then led to that appointment at Tudor.
It was a big one, right? The first time for us with Tudor. So we didn't know what to expect. And it was a really nice experience, right? They, as always, is a presentation first, like where you have this big movie explaining the whole vision behind all the various releases. And then the moment everybody's itching and waiting for is when they pull out the tables and you can actually get these watches on your wrist. Lots of great releases this year, I'd say, from Tudor, but we want to keep it kind of short and sweet per brand, otherwise this show will be like 4 hours long. And it's a joint favourite, and it's for Tudor Black Bay 58 in Burgundy. But the biggest surprise I found with this release, when we were speaking with like fellow journalistic friends, was not everybody loved it as much as we did. And I was quite surprised at that. I thought it looked awesome. Let's just talk first impressions. Like my first impression putting it on the wrist, not going into specs or anything like that, just how it felt. I really liked the Jubilee style bracelet. I liked how glossy.
We're not allowed to say Jubilee style. It's 5-link Tudor.
5-link bracelet, yeah, but we are. Let's. The aluminium bezel has this glossy finish. The sunburst look to the dial. For me, it all popped in the right areas. I thought it looked really cool. Maybe a bit flashy compared to some of the more conventional Black Bays from the past. Or classic Black Bays would be a better word, I'd say. More vintage inspired. This is certainly less vintage inspired, I would say. But the whole thing about Tudor's teaser, right, was boldness. And I think this is kind of a bold move, bold, bright colour. A lot of people always go, well, will the Tudor Submariner come back? And the answer is no, right, unfortunately. But the Tudor minis the mini Submariners used to play with so much colour, including like burgundy and blues, and now you're seeing this in the Black Bay 58. Okay, you're not getting your Submariner, but you're getting nods to those references from the past. So first impressions on the wrist, without going too deep, I really like the look and feel. But Pam, how did you find it?
I liked it. I liked the 5-link bracelet. I actually particularly like the 5-link bracelet. So I've owned the Black Bay 58 with the black dial, the OG, and with the blue dial. The blue dial I do miss a lot. I haven't bought one again yet. I don't like to buy the same watch twice. But this, I thought, okay, this could be it. It's got the Jubilee style bracelet or 5-link, and it's red. So this is the funny thing. Everyone says, oh, if you get a Black Bay 58 in it with a green dial, that's going to melt the internet. Everyone will want it. But Tudor's colour is red or burgundy or this. It's more towards this. And this is what Tudor should be going for, not Rolex colours. And I think, one, it's on brand. Two, the sunburst, okay, it's a bit shiny. The bezel is brighter than the blue, because the thing with the blue one was it's very subdued, but it does pop in the light because it's such a nice blue. This is a bit more out there, but I didn't think it was too out there. I actually thought it's a very attractive watch. And on the wrist, I love the Black Bay 58. And they've slimmed this down apparently and made the crown. I didn't notice the crown had got better. Apparently the crown's better. As a big fan of the watch, I just really enjoyed it on the wrist. I always have, and I think I always will.
Yeah, I think it's. I think with the crown, it's just a little flatter, and I don't want to use these words so much, but it has kind of the same kind of rivets to the crown what you would see on the bigger brother, let's say, to Tudor. But For me, just a subtle difference sometimes, making the crown a little bit flatter. Just how the proportions of a watch can change and the balance cosmetically. I like it. It's very subtle, but it works. And yeah, first Metas certified Black Bay 58, right? Just to add that in there.
Accurate.
So absolute machine, great looking piece, and personally I think a great price, right? Around basically around pretty much 4K, right? You're saving 100, like £3,900, but yeah, round it off at 4K pretty much. But yeah, great.
You can also get it on rubber strap and the oyster style riveted bracelet, pretty much the same price. T-fit clasp is another thing though. That's these are the little things that were missing from the old one, and that's why I thought this could be a real winner. Yeah, really liked it. The burgundy on brand, looks cool. Bracelet is on point. It's a great watch. That's what I got to say.
Next appointment, right? H. Moser, the big one. Great brand, brand who we respect hugely.
We love Moser.
And yeah, they're great. And I think what we both love about Moser is just how bold they are as well. Seems to be a bit of a theme for this Watches and Wonders, bolder releases, like bigger moves.
Colours.
But, colours, yeah, they went for this pop art theme, right, with 18 different variations across the Endeavour range. And yeah, just looked, each one very unique, very fun. My particular favourite was the Endeavour Tourbillon Concept Pop, which had a beautiful lapis lazuli dial, and then featured like a central ring, which, Palm, you're going to have to help me with this pronunciation. What is that?
I've never heard of that word before. Anyway, it's got a lemon dial. Lapis lazuli and lemon, yeah. Chrysoprase dial. There you go.
So this piece in particular is limited to just 8 pieces. It's powered by the HMC 805 automatic caliber with the incredible tourbillon featured at 6 o'clock. And what I really like about this is Moser have a really clever way of keeping some, even though it's quite clever with and a bit more busy with the splash of colour and the variation of the 2 different stones used on this piece. However, they don't detract from the tourbillon at 6. You're still similar to, you know, like every other piece, like the Vanta Black, which they've done in the past. Something pulls you into that vocal point, and that's exactly where they want your eyes to go. And they seem to just do it so beautifully well. Something I always say, and something I said a lot actually, I think, on this trip. But less is more sometimes. And even though it has a lot of depth with a different stone, a lot of colour, it has a very pure look to it. And that's something what was attracted me to the brand Moser, going back to their older purity ranges, just the simplicity and the cleanness of the dials, of the designs. And it's nice to see that here. Even though they're having a lot of fun with the colour and the pop art theme, there's something still very pure and clean and cosmetically very pleasing about it. I thought it was awesome, but will I ever own this piece? Unfortunately not. It comes in around 70k in pounds, so it's one to dream about, but it was certainly a privilege to wear this one on the wrist. Palm, how about yourself? Which Moser stood out to you from all of the great releases this year?
I did like those Endeavour pop arts, but for me, the one that really stood out was they did a purple one. So it's called the Moser Endeavour Centre Seconds Concept Purple Enamel. And there's something really psychedelic about this one. I can see why they used purple, because normally purple was kind of a regal colour, royal, but no, this is kind of like purple haze. This is out there. I think they even nicknamed this the purple haze. It's got a hammered fume purple dial which transitions really well. It's got the Endeavour typical Calatrava-esque case, 40mm, the tiny little crown, which I think is just so well done, and the sword hands, which again is very typical of the Moser Endeavour. But there's something very, like I say, very far out about this. It's almost you look at the dial and you hear this sitar music, and then you can smell incense, and Jimi Hendrix was playing Purple Haze in the background. It's that fume dial is done so well, and getting a bit nerdy about it as well. It's powered by a HMC 201 movement. It is just one cool watch. That's all I can say. It's far out, man.
Yeah, it's a stunning piece. Yeah, I think everything what Moser did this year just, well, as always,
it just looked
for some reason.
And you see this in light as well. Like I say, it does take. This is the thing. The Vanta Black we were just talking about. It sucks you in. It takes you somewhere. This style, like I said, it takes you to the 1960s, 70s. You're in you're in some sort of psychedelic zone, looking into this dial, and it's just so cool. It's really well done.
The Moser magic, yeah. What's the price? Around £25,000, roughly?
Ooh, I remember them telling us it was 27 Swiss francs. So that's about, I'd say 23, 24, which is
23, 24,
what you pay for a really cool watch that Moser will make for you. Yeah, really cool. So then next up was one of my favorite brands, my favorite Trinity brand, Vacheron Constantin. We got into the meeting after a little bit of confusion on the list. We at one point we thought, we're not getting in, but we managed to pull it out the fire and get ourselves into that meeting, that touch and try. They've changed it from touch and feel sessions, which I think is a good move. Actually, they call them touch and try sessions now. So that's one of the positives from this year's Watches and Wonders. My favourite watch was the Vacheron Constantin Traditionnel manual wind three-hander. It's in pink gold. It's 38 millimeters. It's the version to celebrate 270 years of Vacheron Constantin. There's a lot of anniversaries this year, and this was a big one. This is probably the oldest one they had. What makes this so good to me is the simplicity. For me, a dress watch should be nice and simple. This is a simple 2 sword hands, a small seconds at 6 o'clock in rose gold, and this beautiful grey alligator strap. Really nice. Just, you can tell Vacheron, every detail in a Vacheron Constantin watch has been so well thought out. But the dial is a 270th anniversary dial. So it's got a Maltese cross inspired dial. That's another thing I love about Vacheron is the Maltese cross and the buckle, which has the half Maltese cross on the leather straps. This one doesn't let you down either. And like I say, this simple, elegant, you know you're wearing a Vacheron. Okay, they ain't cheap. They're at £25,000. But if you want to get a nice, simple dress watch from a Trinity brand with no major frills, but excellent finishing and workmanship, then the Vacheron Traditionnel is where you want to go. This one, I think they're only making 370 pieces of each of their anniversary pieces. So if you want to get one quick. But it is a really cool watch, really beautiful. Andy?
I went for something a bit more busy, but not too busy, keeping it classic still. So I went for the Moon Phase retrograde date patrimony, and I just really kind of connected with this one. I think it's just quite fun, the retrograde date concept as well. I like the retrograde featuring watches in general, and I think it's just quite fun waiting for it to hit like the 31st and then watch the hands spring back, which half the time you probably never see because it'd be midnight when that's happening, but still a really cool feature. Another element to the watch which I really liked was the Moon Phase. Again, go to the website, check out the show notes, because it's just the detail on the actual moon. It's quite small, how intricate like the carving is on the moon. It just looks, just so class and beautiful. Again, similar to Palm Selection, it has for the 270th, it has the Maltese cross motif on the dial, which was a theme which ran throughout quite a few of their pieces under the 270th release. Just what more to say? White gold, a little larger for me, in all honesty, at 42.5 millimeter. It's not a size I would normally choose, especially in a dress watch. However, VC, and they know what they're doing. Vacheron know what they're doing. The lugs are quite short, so even though it's a big diameter, it still fits the wrist really, really nicely. And Again, only 270 pieces made for this particular one, and around 43k pounds. I won't be picking this up anytime soon, but for those lucky people who can collect this piece, hats off, because I think it's absolutely stunning. Yeah, a bit of a fun complication, but not overpowering the simplicity and the purity of the piece itself. I just think it's very, very beautiful. So then our next appointment of the day, we went to see Laurent Ferrier. And again, with Laurent Ferrier, it's as much about the experience, like we mentioned. We want to share the experience with you as much as the watches themselves. And Laurent Ferrier this year just had one release, a very, very clean, crisp looking. It's called the Classic Auto Horizon. We'll get more into the depth of the watch itself, but just very pure, very clean, perfect symmetry of the watch, as always. Like Laurent Ferrier is just a perfectionist, I have to say, and I don't know if you agree, Pam, but out of every single watch I handled, and this is no attack at any brand, the finishing of Laurent Ferrier is just... it's hard to even put into words just how brilliant it is. Like that,
true.
I think that's it.
It's true. There is one other watch that we saw that could possibly equal it, but we'll talk about that later.
But it's up there, right? It's up there with the best of the best of the best.
Yes, so the one release I had was the Laurent Ferrier Classic Auto Horizon. I love the powder blue dial. It was a powder blue lacquered dial, but it almost had a stony effect to it. But again, the light play was incredible. White gold, the finishing. So we had Oli El Falah from the limited edition on a few shows ago, and he talked about impeccable finishing is what you expect from Laurent Ferrier. And that is exactly what you expect here. That is exactly what you not expect, but what you see. And every detail is just... There's so much thought behind it. Everything was incredible and amazing. And to speak to him as well. He doesn't speak English, he speaks French. And my broken French, I managed to he got quite into the conversation in the end, because we had a guy who was there who was translating and he was really into the conversation. He was sat there, he was gesticulating, his hands were going around, he was just, but in a cool, calm manner. He's not a crazy guy, he's a very cool, calm and collected guy. But you could see he was really getting into, and it was all about the design. When we talked about his design, and not just his brand's amazing, but the design and the detail that goes into it and the inspiration behind it, you could see Laurent Ferrier, his eyes lighting up.
His eyes lit up.
Exactly. His smile, his teeth sparkled,
Yeah.
It was just, he was so happy to share that vision with you. To me, that was a milestone moment. We've met Jean-Claude Biver, and he kind of had a bit of a go at us. But to get told off by Jean-Claude Biver is an honour in itself, I think. To speak to Laurent Ferrier and to see him reply with such passion when you talk about his designs, and you can just almost feel the creative mind, the cogs in his head just clicking and ticking into shape.
I have to say, the fact that he took... It wasn't just 5 minutes. He really took the time to sit with it. He had to go somewhere. They were trying to drag him off, basically. Yeah. I think that's a nice little nod to us. We must be doing something right, but also just his passion. Again, we were going into the depth of the detail. It's all, again, look at the Classic Horizon, and it's all about the symmetry of the dial, the lines. I love the chamfered kind of a date window. Everything is thought out. And it's all about how he plays with the textures, like the satin finish and the brushed finish, how he plays with these soft textures on the dial. And then just one thing, because it'd be a full show on Laurent Ferrier, but
well, you should do one.
You get the loop, and you kind of just start laughing because you can't find a single fault. Like, it's just so crisp and precise. And yes, there's other brands who can do it. But Laurent Ferrier, I mean, I guess you can argue, yes, smaller production, so we can spend more time on the finishing. But I mean, it's just up there. It really is, for me, an incredible brand, an aspirational brand. One day, if I could ever own such a piece from such a strong independent, Laurent Ferrier would definitely be a grail piece to own. And what more can I say? Incredible. Great experience, great watch. Very enjoyable.
Just going back to he told us about the font. We should do a show about him. The way detail he went on about the font and why he chose it and how he spaced it was incredible. After Laurent Ferrier, after that amazing experience, we had another incredible experience in a whole different way, in a different world. And that was our appointment, not the party, the appointment with Jacob & Co., which was once again at the Four Seasons in Geneva. And they unveiled their The World Is Yours dual time zone tourbillon. When we started this podcast, we started off at Geneva Watch Days. One of our biggest appointments, if not the biggest appointment we had on that trip, was with Jacob & Co. And we met Benjamin Arabov. And they had just released The World Is Yours. And we did an interview with him and he talked all about it. I think it's episode 3, episode 2, something like that. Check it out in the catalogue.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. And it was nice to see them evolve this series. So what they've done is they've got this amazing globe with immaculate engraving and carving, and they put a tourbillon in the middle. So the story behind it was Jacob's father gave him the watch and says, the world is yours, make something out of yourself. But it was a dual-time Wachmann watch, and that's what the watch was based on. And Jacob, in tribute to his father, made that edition 2023, and now they've started to evolve it. And even the tourbillon is like those old world maps, the compasses you see in the corner, showing the north, east, south, and west. It's shaped in that star shape. The way it moves around is just, again, very artistic, very creative. It's going to be a very long show if we go on too much about these watches, but that was my pick from Jacob & Co. 1, because of the nostalgia, the sentimentality, and 2, it's a damn good watch.
Another piece which stood out to me from Jacob & Co. is the Astronomia, the 4-axis tourbillon. This was another novelty for Jacob & Co. this year. And look, you just need to check out the videos of this piece. It's like watching a time lapse. The whole movement in 1 minute does the full rotation from 12 to 12. And there's just so much animation going on there. And you can just see this obsession with Jacob's innovation and imagination to just keep pushing the boundaries, doing the impossible, and doing what nobody else is doing. Like the amount of depth to the Astronomia, which this piece has, like the mirror kind of triangular golden backplate it has, and the very, very thin sapphire-looking dial, which had to be very light in order for the tourbillon to be able to move at the rate it does. I mean, it's just a masterpiece of engineering. Whether you like the aesthetics or not, from a mechanical engineering perspective, you just can't. It's incredible. Like Jacob & Co. always just, when you think they can't go beyond, they take it to the next step. And that's the best way to say Jacob & Co. Always a very warm, welcoming experience. I'll add that as well. Like with these brands, you think, such a high-level brand, how was the experience? Is it cold? No, it is very, very warm, welcoming, very comfortable, even though you're handling watches which are, $500,000, for example, £500,000. They treat you really, really well, and it's always a great experience.
Yeah, Jacob & Co. They always look after you. You'd be surprised, because such a high-end brand, you can almost feel intimidated by the cost of the watches there. But they look after you. The watchmaker there was brilliant. He just really enjoyed telling you all about it, showing you everything, and so wanted to give you the best experience possible on the day. And they definitely did that. And another amazing appointment with Jacob & Co., because they always look after us, and we love seeing them. Then, that evening, we met up with our third host, one Martin Green. So we went for a nice meal. So if you're looking for a nice Indian restaurant in Geneva, go to Kiran. That's where we met up. It was a really cool day. Andy ate chilies, which he shouldn't have eaten.
I didn't know whether to mention that or not, but yeah, for that, Matt, I was crying.
Yeah, it was. It was a good meal. Good to catch up. It was good to catch up with Martin. We never meet up. We hardly ever meet up. We've probably met each other in person 3-4 times in the last 3-4 years. It was a really nice opportunity to meet up, have a meal, have a drink, and the main thing was just have a laugh. It went on for quite a long time. It was about 3 hours we were out in the end.
Yeah.
It was only like the last half hour we actually started getting into the watch talk, like really seriously getting into it. The rest of it was just ripping the piss out of each other. It was just banter.
It was brilliant, and just three good friends sharing time together. I think that's the best way to put it. Just extremely enjoyable, and memory what won't escape my mind for a very long time. Very enjoyable.
Yeah, and as Martin did the preview show with us, it was nice to have a little live catch up with him, which is always great.
So that led us then to day 3. So we didn't get too wild, although we did have a very nice Indian whiskey. Which was a whiskey, by the way?
It's an Indian whiskey called Amrut, which is really nice. Brilliant. I've never had it before. I've heard about it, but I've never had it before.
Really fruity and flavoursome.
Really good.
Excellent whiskey. Check it out. We're not sponsored
by Amrut single malt. Whiskey. No, we are not. Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe after this. But that led to day 3. Feeling relatively fresh still. And our first appointment was with Hublot. And of course, Hublot were celebrating their 20 years of the Big Bang. So it was very Big Bang centric and some really, really fun pieces. The one which stood out to me was the Unico in mint green ceramic. Very fresh, very summer vibes. I just love always what Hublot do with ceramic, and I don't think they get enough praise for how complex a process it is to create these colours. Like they also had a red ceramic, which was extremely difficult to produce. But yeah, for me, the mint green just really stood out. 42mm, not a bad size for this style of watch, to be honest. Like, let's be honest, if you're wearing a Hublot, it's to make somewhat of a statement. In-house caliber as well, with 354 components. So again, people seem to have this thing about bashing Hublot, but that's a serious movement, a serious watch. And to be honest, for around £20,000, for the amount of research and development that goes into the creation of the ceramic cases, the movement, I don't think they get the praise they deserve. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed that piece. But Pam, which stood out to you with Hublot?
Hublot was good. It was a really good experience. The appointment we had was with a very engaging young lady, and she really explained the hell out of everything. She went to the nth degree in detail, and again, really want you to have the best experience. So my favourite one was the Big Bang 20th anniversary in King Gold ceramic. So marking 20 years off their Big Bang range, Hublot have released a series of watches, and my favourite was the King Gold one. So this is actually gold with ceramic. Hublot do these incredible things with materials. They're so underrated in what they do. They're so underrated in how much ingenuity and creativity they put into the watches. Everyone just focuses on Hublot is bad, Hublot is overpriced, Hublot is cool to hate. But I think they're a really cool brand. It's got this amazing black stamp satin finish carbon effect dial, almost like a checkerboard texture to it. It's got a chronograph. The bezel is polished black ceramic. The detail, the patterning on the sides of the case and the sides of the bezel. The King Gold, the ceramic and gold. I mean, that's something I don't even know. Forget about how they made it, why they made it. It just sounds cool. It's just the look. The dark colour of the gold is so unique, and it just looks mean. And that's what I liked about this watch. 43mm with a Big Bang. That's pretty standard for them. Just such a sporty watch. And out of the range that they did a red and black version as well, a red ceramic and black, but this one was definitely my pick. So check out the show notes if you want to see this watch and all the other watches we talk about. We are having to rush through these because there's a lot to cover. We don't want to bore you to death with a 6-hour show. So that was my pick from Hublot.
Yeah, so apologies if we do pick up the pace a little bit, but we're trying to keep it down to one show. So very quickly, and a brand that deserves a lot of respect, but it's Arnold & Son. And we got to see the Constant Force Tourbillon 11 in yellow gold in the metal. And if you want to learn more about this piece, check out episode, it was 54, where we had Pascal. Check out that episode to really get the depth and the inspiration behind this piece. But just one thing I'll say, seeing it in the metal, having it on the wrist, just mind-blowing, just incredible. There's no other way of describing it. It just popped. Limited to 11 pieces, so most, if not all, will be sold now. But just a work of art, I'd say maybe one of the best watches from the event. I could say a lot more, but I want to keep it short and sweet. But Palm, I'm sure equally you have a lot to say on this piece.
Check out episode 54 with Pascal Béchu, CEO of Arnold & Son, where he actually talked about the launch of this watch. What can I say? It's unbelievable. When we were talking about Laurent Ferrier earlier on, I mentioned there is one other watch that we saw that could possibly match them for finishing and style and just perfection. And it's this one. The Constant Force Tourbillon in 11 yellow. We both loved it. It was nice to hear Pascal talk about it on the show. So again, check out the show. But to see it in the flesh, in the metal, that white Grand Feu enamel dial and the Australian opal time dial and just the tourbillon. You get to see that plate, engraved plate dedicated to the friendship between John Arnold and Abraham Louis Breguet. It's classical elegance with some serious modern vibes. I remember on the show I mentioned it looks a lot like an MB&F horology machine too, and I think they've nailed it with this one. The good thing about this brand, Pascal did let us into a little secret, which we can't disclose. There is a celebrity watch collector who has actually purchased this, but they don't go around talking about it. They don't make them turn up to an event wearing it. This was a genuine buy from a genuine celebrity who loves watches. And he shared that little secret with us as to who it was. And we were very impressed, really impressed with that. And then that led us to Angelus. Coincidentally, that was with Pascal Béchu as well, who's also the CEO for them. And one of their novelties was La Fabrique Chronographe Telemetre in yellow gold and steel. Andy, you took a shine to the yellow gold, if I'm not mistaken.
I did, yeah. I guess I like a bit of bling. Again, just a really nice diameter at 37 millimeter. And yeah, what to say about this? It's just the dial, the layout, the format, a movement which I really love is the mono pusher as well. Just the detail of the grain on the dial as well. It had like a stamped grain central effect. So you've got, again, you're playing with these satin and grain finishes. It's all about textures, right, with these pieces. And it just had some beautiful texture to it, which really complemented the yellow gold. And yeah, the diameter of the watch just felt great on the wrist. And again, we've spoken so much about these pieces with Pascal in the past, and to actually able to go full circle and try them, for me personally, I really enjoyed that experience. And yeah, it was a beautiful piece to try out.
It was, and I actually loved the steel version with the salmon dial. Beautiful watch, 37 mil. A monopusher and a flyback chronograph. I love chronographs. A monopusher and a flyback are just two of the coolest toys you can get on a watch. Complications that you almost turns the watch into a little toy for you, because you kind of just keep playing around with it, and it's just a really, really cool complication. Beautiful watch, Angelus, historical brand, reinvented by Pascal. And yeah, that was my pick, which then led us to our next appointment, which was the pomp and opulence of Parmigiani Fleurier. So we actually had the CEO experience with Guido Torini, and it was quite... You knew you were sitting with the CEO. It was quite a big experience, quite daunting, I would say. No doubt about it. It was different from it's quite different from the others. But again, they make watches for King Charles III, so I guess you have to know where you are. But they made a beautiful Tonde PF GMT Rattrapant, had a hidden GMT hand. Beautiful turquoisey teal dial. We both, again, just loved this watch. It's quite funny because Parmigiani, the marketing lady who showed us in, says, "Palm, what does that mean then?" And it was we had a little conversation about that, and we kind of figured out. She figured out it was unrelated to the brand.
Just very quickly with Parmigiani as well, it was our first time experiencing these pieces firsthand, right? Handling them in the metal, and doesn't matter which reference you want to talk about, just in general. The quality, the finishing, the feeling, the detail on the bezel, just superb. Really, really nice to finally get our hands on with a brand. We were supposed to see them last year, actually, but just their agenda was too pat. So it was nice to be able to get them in this time and to have that CEO experience as well, even more special.
Which then took us to the House of Fun, Chapek, led by Xavier de Roquemorel, who is the funnest CEO in the watch industry. It was great to see him again, and it was a wonderful opportunity to get to see the Chapek Antarctique Tourbillon Photon Sphere. Now, everyone's going tourbillon crazy this year because Chapek are at it as well.
Yeah, it's true. It was fun to see a tourbillon on the Antarctique, and there's a lot to digest with this new range. There's different iterations, of course. The Phantom Sphere is the one which stood out to me. It has like this copper salmon guilloche dial, which is very intricate, very beautiful. The emphasis is all around the new in-house tourbillon caliber 9. And there's a lot to take in. You have the tourbillon sitting at 6 o'clock. Then you have the central bridge, which is timed between 3 and 9. Like, there's a lot going on this dial. It would be fair to say it's somewhat polarizing at first, but as you wear the piece for a bit longer, you start to get used to the aesthetics. But it's probably the loudest Antarctique I've seen today. But it's very fun, very cool. I'm excited to see where they take the innovation of the tourbillon now, how they develop that throughout their range. An impressive movement, that's for sure. But how did you find it, Palm?
Yeah, beautiful guilloche. I'm going to just cover this briefly because we both like the same watch. I like the one in Glacier Blue, which is a lovely, obviously icy blue colour. One, it matched the jacket I was wearing. Two, it's just a gorgeous colour. In terms of the Antarctique, it's normally quite a simple watch, a time only, and obviously that type of integrated bracelet watch is where a lot of brands can have fun with complications. And I mean, tourbillon isn't a complication, it just helps with the accuracy of the time telling. But you can see that they're going to do a lot more and have a lot more fun with the Antarctique range. The layout of the dial was a bit too busy for my liking. I loved the guilloche, I loved the finishing, I loved what they did. It's just a couple of pieces too many possibly on the dial, but it's a beautiful watch, stunning watch, a pleasure to have on the wrist. And that was our experience at Chapek.
That then led us to Cartier, which again are quite crazy complication centric and everything else you can imagine. Second time for me personally. I think maybe Palm's third time with Cartier, if correct me if I'm wrong. Second,
third, yes.
Third,
yes,
you saw them in London, right?
Yeah, in London, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it was nice to have a bit more time again to just digest the range. And just very quickly, a piece which stood out to me the most was their Purity collection. They had this beautiful white sapphire circular case with a central tourbillon in the center of the actual dial. It had this almost rainbow-like effect throughout the sapphire. Very beautiful play with colors and textures again. However, the price point, it's up there, serious money at 128k pounds. I like what Cartier are doing. I think they're really, really impressive. Kind of mind-boggling, the creations and the imagination behind everything they're doing with the sapphire, right, which changes color under light, and you can tell that they like to have fun and they're very playful. To try these watches on is a great experience, a great brand to interact with. And yeah, I enjoyed the experience. It was great. But Pam, how did you find it? Any particular piece stand out to you?
Yeah, Cartier, I love seeing Cartier. If you listen to our review show, it was one of the brands I was really looking forward to seeing. The curvy collection I thought was really cool with the tonneau case, crown at 12. They do tourbillons and everything, and they just skeletonization tourbillons. They have sapphire cases that change color with different lights. But one in particular was a sandblasted titanium curvy watch, it's called. And like I say, tonneau shaped. The skeletonization is so simple. The movement looks so simple. It looks like there's hardly anything to it. It's just a case, a few dimensions to the movement, and then your wrist. And they also did a very interesting jade version Very elegant. Jade, I mean, I guess that's kind of targeting the East Asian market, but it's such a cool stone. I've never seen a watch made from jade. Obviously, the case is coated in jade. So the curvy collection, that sandblasted titanium and the jade were two that really caught my eye. Nice thin leather straps on them. A really interesting brand. This isn't something that everyone will know about, but I think this is the brand that a lot of people should look at. The price range, again, these are high-end independent watches. But enjoy the artistry, enjoy the engineering, because these are beautiful timepieces.
100%. Yeah, even if they're out of reach, you can still appreciate the innovation and creativity behind them, right? Really, really impressive. So then that led to an evening, and a very special evening for us, right? We had dinner with H. Moser, which was our first brand dinner, I think. Yeah, the first brand dinner we had the Jacob party, of course, but like more of a meal. It was with H. Moser. Very, very enjoyable. Yeah, just a cool atmosphere, right? We were just, I guess, sat reflecting on the day. We had so many people come, hang out, speak with us. I really enjoyed the atmosphere. Amazing food. Great food, constantly coming all the time. Great service. Brilliant red wine. Maybe a little too much red wine this time. And it was just nice to sit with a brand. Edouard was there, of course, greeting everybody as they came in. There was a few familiar faces there as well.
Yep, we had an amazing time. Met loads of people. Dave from Scottish Watches was there. We met the really cool YouTube podcast. Two guys who run a really cool YouTube podcast from New York called Wrist Check Podcast. We met Perry and Rashawn. Both really nice guys, really into their watches, and had a nice long chat with them. Yeah, it's one of those parties where everyone's friendly. Bertrand came and sat down with us. We were sat down for quite a bit of the thing because we were the new guys at the beginning. Bertrand Melon, Edouard's brother, came and sat down with us. We got to shoot the breeze with him, tell him about ourselves, ask him about how he feels about the way Mose is going and where he sees the company going. It was a really nice chat, and the brand is amazing. You talk to CEOs, you talk to top dogs in a watch brand, well, especially independent. You have so much fun and interaction with them. And that's what this party summarized. Everyone was fun. Everyone interacted. Everyone spoke to you. It was just a really great party. And yes, some very nice red wine, which probably was flowing a bit too freely. So that was the Moser party. We went back to the hotel, ready for day 4. First appointment was with Louis Moinet, an amazing historical brand who had just released a re-edition of their first ever pocket watch chronograph. It's called the 1816. The watch is called the 1816 because the first pocket watch chronograph was made in 1816. And this is a nod back to the exact layout of that pocket watch. It's a real tribute to what they were doing back then. I don't know how true all these stories are. Louis Moinet made the world's first chronograph. So this watch, if you look at it, you might think, okay, that looks a bit not a regular chronograph looking watch, but then you have to appreciate that the layout is an exact copy of that watch made in 1816.
Yeah, it was a really cool looking piece. I think, again, when you see the original, so they had this reinterpretation of the original chronograph pocket watch. And when you see them side by side, you see the connection. All in titanium, so it was a very lightweight watch. Titanium bracelet as well. I have to say, the movement on the back, it was incredible. Like the depth and detail, very, very beautiful. Definitely a collector's piece who's really into the brand and into the historic, of course, reference there. But yeah, it was cool to check out the brand. Really cool piece. Definitely a little bit different, but a great piece, yeah. So then that led us to Bremont, where we sat with Davide Cerato, the CEO of Bremont, and again, a really nice experience to able to have the CEO's time. And it was all about jumping hours. And again, there was mixed kind of feelings around these pieces, but the one which jumped out to me, no pun intended, was the bronze. which unfortunately is limited to only 100 pieces. I think these will fly. Really cool looking. Aesthetics. Cushion case, 38mm. And the whole watch was made from bronze with an aluminium mix. So even the case back is all bronze. It won't react with your skin due to the higher aluminium mix within it. So you won't get any kind of nasty rash wearing it. But you get that full bronze look. It almost looked gold on the wrist. And another detail which I liked, so of course you have at 12 o'clock, you have the jump hour. In the center of the whole watch, you have a run in seconds, which looks like a compass. And then you have your minutes sitting down at 6 o'clock. Very clean, very pure looking design, which a lot of jump hours, that's the attraction of them, the minimalist and digital analog aesthetic. But I liked it. I thought it was very cool. I didn't understand why Bremont didn't. I wouldn't say I think they got love, but I think they maybe got a bit of a mixed reaction. But personally, I liked what they were doing. But how did you find it, Palm? Which piece stood out to you?
The bronze was cool. It got compared to, it got some good things said about it, some not so good things said about it. I think it's different. Davide told us he's trying to do something different. He said he loves working with an independent brand because they allow him to have that creative license. And the jumping hours are definitely the complication that you can say is a little bit different. My favourite wasn't the bronze. There was the steel Terranova 40.5 jumping hour with a black dial. It had triangle markers at 3, 6, 9 and 12. It's got London written on it, so obviously I love it. I think that's why I actually like Bremont so much at the moment, because they put London on the dial. But one thing, I did like it, and I do like it, is the hour window and the minutes window, the open minutes window, is on the left-hand side. So it could be found hiding under your cuff, which might make the time-telling experience not as easy as the bronze one. And there is a sweeping seconds hand, which also rotates around the dial, which could possibly impact the aesthetics. But when we tried it on, I thought, yes, I could possibly see myself buying this watch. Got an in-house movement, BC634AH, doing something different. Davide seemed very proud that in a big brand, you have to play it safe. You don't want to kill the brand by trying something too radical. But with an independent brand like Bremont, I know it's controversial. A lot of people like their Forces-inspired watches. They've gone slightly away from that, even though they did create a whole range of pilots watches as well this year. They're doing something different. I don't think you should knock people for trying to do something different. We all have to evolve and improve and see if we can get a new fan base, but hopefully not lose the old one. So yeah, that was Bremont. And then next appointment, heavy hitter, was Hermés. Hermés released quite a few watches. My favourite was the Hermés Arceau Le Temps Suspendu white gold with burgundy. Now, Le Temps Suspendu is a complication where you can suspend time. Le Temps Suspendu, suspended in time. So if you want to switch off from the world, if you think, right, the world's going a bit too fast for me, I just want to slow it down. I just want to go within myself and go in my special place. You click the pusher at 9 o'clock. The hand stopped telling the time. But the clever part of it is the Hermès H1837 movement is actually working in the background to keep an accurate time. When you push the pusher at 9 o'clock again, it moves the hands into the correct time, putting you back into the now and no longer being suspended in time. Arceau means hoops, and I think they call this the hoop because it's got a very round case and hoop-like lugs, I guess, because the strap sits on a circular set of lugs. Very cool watch. Crown at 2 o'clock, which is quite typical of Hermès. They do like to have their crowns in unusual places. And yeah, this is skeletonized, so you get to see the movement too.
A very cool piece. And sticking with the same theme, the piece which jumped out at me was the Hermès Cut, Le Temps Suspendu, so the suspension of time once again. And Palm brilliantly explained the complication. So again, of course, it's present on the cut. Very cool how it works, though. One thing I'll add is, of course, you have like the FP Jaune Elegant, right? Which, okay, it doesn't quite do the same thing, but you leave the watch it will stop running. When you pick it up, it will correct itself to the right time. What's cool about this is you are stopping the time and it's still keeping track, and it's all analog. There's no quartz magic happening in there. It's all mechanical, and I think that's a nice nod to what Hermès are doing, and I don't think they always get the respect they deserve to create a movement what you can suspend yet reset the time accurately. It's quite impressive, all being mechanical, and that really, really impressed me. But yeah, I love the rich red burgundy kind of red dial, which was on the cut. The 39mm in rose gold, slightly larger than the previous generation cuts, which I believe were around 36. So it was a nicer diameter, I think, especially for an all gold piece. And yeah, I just thought it was stunning on the wrist. I love the colorway, and I thought the complication was a nice touch to remember. Sometimes we lose track of time, or we let time kind of rule our lives a little bit. And I think they did that in a really nice way with that complication. That then leads us to an appointment with Ressence, where we got to check out their new all sports integrated sports piece, the new Type 7. I believe both of us loved the Aqua Marine. Very, very thin, extremely lightweight in grade 5 titanium. Has that classic oil-filled dial. Quite a daring bezel concept of design, as it's really to the edge of the watch. Something you don't see every day. It definitely has a unique aesthetic. Very easy to adjust clasp. It had like a switch on the bottom of the clasp, which allowed you to adjust the size very, very easily. A GMT functionality as well. Just great to see it in the metal. Again, it was released before or prior to Watches and Wonders, but to see it in the flesh, I was really impressed. Just the price point stings a little bit at around 33k in pounds. It's a serious investment, but it's one hell of a watch, I would say, at the same time. But Pam, how did you find it?
I couldn't put it better myself, Andy. I think everything you said was spot on. Great to have a sports piece with that incredible oil-filled Ressence technology. Yeah, winner. Definitely a really cool one. So that moved us on to Zenith, who are celebrating 160 years of their existence. And they released 3 watches. And if you bought all 3, you get a bonus watch, which Andy will tell you about in a bit. My pick wasn't the one that everyone fell for. It wasn't the El Primero or the Defy. Mine was the Pilot Big Date Flyback 160th Anniversary Edition. So it's a flyback chronograph, so hours of fun, just clicking it on and off and resetting. This range comes in a ceramic blue and bracelet. Why blue, you say? A royal blue is Zenith's brand colour, so they wanted to mark that 160th anniversary with a set of their most popular watches in that blue ceramic colour palette. This wasn't everyone's cup of tea. I spoke to a few people before we went to our appointment, and they said, let me know what you think about that. You know, just they were a bit 50-50 on it. And I went there with that in my mind. I kind of thought, okay, I get it, but, you know, it's not something I would particularly want to buy. But we went out later on to a party, which we will talk about later, and one of the guys was actually wearing one of these. He was wearing the Defy chronograph, and it actually looked amazing on his wrist out in the wild. So if you're at Watches and Wonders and you're being shown watches and you going back to the experience, you know, and you see it on Instagram, and some people say this is good, some people say that is good, and you see so many watches, sometimes you just kind of get lost in other people's opinions. And then what resets you is you go out and you see people wearing these watches and you think, actually, that's pretty cool. And I thought the ceramic was really cool once I saw it on the wrist. When I was at the event, I was kind of like, okay, I'm not sure, I don't quite get it. But then you got to see it on someone's wrist, and it does look really good. The Big Pilot was my favourite because I like a big date on a watch. And again, flyback chronograph, as I mentioned earlier. Very, very nice.
Linking on to the very special piece for those lucky few, then I have to say the CFJ with a caliber 135 just, yeah, really, really blew me away, to be honest. the Lapis Lazuli dial. Very, very beautiful with a mother of pearl center seconds. It had the Guilloche outer hour track, which at least for me, and I believe it was Zenith's intention, was to represent the bricks of the Zenith manufacture. So it was very nice to see, and you can see that on the 135 caliber in the back as well, like the engraving on the movement there itself. Not your classic kind of Geneva stripes, if you like. And it's a legendary movement, right? The 135 movement is very historic, makes a lot of sense for that movement to be in such a significant piece for marking the 260 years. What's special about the 135? Very quickly, it won the most observatory chronometer awards ever, with over 230 awards. So very, very impressive, a very significant movement for Zenith, one which they are very proud of. And look, I always like these special anniversary pieces, but then I like to see where it leads after. Okay, is the caliber 135 back now for good? And will we see different iterations of that? And if so, what will they look like? Certainly the benchmark has been set extremely high. You could also get this piece, just to quickly cover, it was in platinum. You could get it with a platinum bracelet as well, which was very, very nice looking. But of course, you're paying around 37k pounds for that piece. But incredible. Really enjoyed the Zenith experience. Again, there were mixed feelings, but personally, and I think Parmeco was the same, we quite liked what we did there. So then that led us to a rather unique experience, right?
Yeah. Good friend of the show and good friend of ours, Mike Stockton, invited us to Beauvais with him, where we got a really cool experience at their, well, they had a, what was it? Their little, wasn't a manufacturer, it was a showroom, right?
Like
it was
a villa.
It was in the nice, one of the most tranquil parts of Geneva I've ever been to. It was on the lake, probably hear about one or two cars driving past every hour. Very nice location, really cool people there explaining everything to you, and then the watches were unbelievable. They were just old world, phenomenal. I mean, I don't know how to explain Beauvais. It's just a unique niche brand, beautiful collectors, high-end collector brand. That's what I'd call it.
Yeah. Complex, dual face, watches what are two-sided, turn into a desk clock. Now they're doing the sports design in titanium, right, with a recital 12, which is the most conventional looking Beauvais. Other than that, you have dragons, which are sculpted out of the movements. And incredible. Yeah, a very special experience, I would say, and very welcoming, like I believe you already mentioned as well, Pam. But with such a prestige brand, you never know how the atmosphere may be. And something which I really like is, even though the watches are worth, getting to really handle the pieces firsthand. And yeah, the location was so beautiful. A nice escape from the expo.
It's a collector's playground because they just seem to have fun with high-end watchmaking, haute horology and going to town. Not like MB&F, but a bit more traditional, a lot more traditional. As Andy mentioned, the Recital 12, they had the watch bracelet and case in titanium and the actual dial in malachite or turquoise or other stones. So they are getting quite playful with it. I think they even had a meteorite dial at one point somewhere. So yeah, they're getting into a lot less old world traditional and getting into a bit more, like I say, collector's playground kind of material. So then that evening, we went for another meal. We went to a Hublot party, which was, again, very interesting. We met people from many different brands there. Good fun, good food, good Negronis, I guess, right? But we were quite well behaved. It was our last day. We didn't want to ruin it by getting, totally off our faces, as they say here.
But fun evening, nice hospitality, and yeah, we were very well behaved on this trip. It's safe to say. So the final day, day 5, we've made it. If you're still listening, thank you. You're making it through this marathon. So that led us to our first appointment of day 5, the final day, and some heavy hitters. So we had Cartier, incredible experience, some amazing pieces, which again, we could have a whole dedicated show to Cartier and the watches they showed us. However, I'm going to be very boring. Out of all of the amazing pieces we saw, one which I really liked was something very simple, which was the Cartier Santos, the new small size, coming in at 27mm by 34.5mm. Just a beautiful sunburst silver dial. I just found the balance and the feel of the watch absolutely perfect. It felt pure class on the wrist. My only gripe, and it probably always will gripe me with Cartier sometimes, is I don't understand why you can't have a smaller size with an automatic movement. Quartz doesn't bother me. The chopard I'm wearing now is quartz. I'm not anti-quartz, but it'd be nice to have the option to if you prefer a smaller size watch, it'd be nice to have the option of the mechanical automatic in there and not having to go up a size in order to get the mechanical movement. That's my only gripe. Beyond that, balance, feel, aesthetic, very, very nice. Nice subtle upgrade to the dial. And yeah, just a classic looking piece, which I really enjoyed. But Palm, I think a bit more of an exciting piece grabbed your attention.
Yeah, jumping hours. Talking of jumping hours, this was the ultimate jumping hour, which is the Cartier Privé Tank à Guichet. Guichet means counters. This is the reintroduction of the jump hour in the Cartier tank range. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it. This is probably one of the stars of the show. The Monopusher was last year. Again, a beautiful, beautiful watch. I loved it in the rose gold. Everyone went crazy about the platinum, the asymmetric counters on the platinum version, but I love that rose gold version. The funny thing about it is that you put it on your wrist and it is like just a small slab of gold on your wrist with two windows, and it's such a strange sensation, this watch. It gives a very good, you almost forget about the time on it. I think there are some watches where you just forget about the time, even though the complication is incredible. You just think, wow, this is a Cartier jumping hour on my wrist. It is something very, very special. It has a caliber 9755 MC manual wind movement. Beautiful, beautiful rose gold. You can get it in yellow gold and the platinum, but for me, the rose gold was the best. There are certain shades of rose gold that suit, well, I've got a darker complexion, so certain shades of rose gold that will suit me, certain that won't. This is one of those that will, and it just looks amazing, looks incredible. One thing that breaks my heart is the Cartier Privé part of this. This isn't in the regular catalogue. This is, you have to be a specialist Cartier collector stroke friend of the brand to even have a chance of putting your name down to buy one. Very much like the Monopusher last year. It's amazing they've done it, but you're never going to get anywhere near it unless you're trying one on, I guess. Amazing watch, $47,000 in gold. Okay, not the cheapest watch, but then again, this is that exclusive high-end luxury collection. And what I loved about our first appointment at Cartier was it felt like you were in a Cartier boutique. Earlier this year, I bought my wife a nice Santos Dumont for a milestone birthday. I'm not a high flyer baller or anything like that. It was a nice treat for my wife. I've bought my tank from the salon in Champs-Élysées in Paris when we were there once. So that boutique experience is really nice with Cartier, especially when they get out their Cartier brand champagne as well, and they're not stingy with it. They will give you as much as you want. But minus the champagne, the experience at this appointment was very much like being in a Cartier boutique. The way they spoke, the way it was just the lighting, everything was so spot on. Beautiful. I love Cartier, the brand. I love going to their boutiques, and one day I'd be able to be one of their high-end customers, but I just need probably rob a bank or something first.
Equally, another Grail brand to spend some time with was a Lange Söhne, and I really enjoyed their new novelties this year. But the Odysseus in honey gold was the one which stole my heart, let's say. So the honey gold, which Lange do, is incredible. It's this beautiful blend of yellow and rose gold, and they nail it spot on. If that wasn't enough, you've got this gorgeous chocolate dial, which has this intricate fluted outer hour track. It's also present on the sub-seconds dial as well at 6 o'clock. I also really like the big date, and I just like the balance and the aesthetics of this piece. Very heavy, very chunky. I can appreciate it maybe not for everybody, but it just felt like no watch I've ever held before, to be honest. The weight, the quality, the finishing, the detail. Again, we're talking about that Laurent Ferrier connection. Lange definitely have the finishing up there. Price upon request, so your guess is as good as mine, but you can imagine it's going to sting a little bit, and similar to Cartier and Privé, you need to be a serious Lange customer, I would imagine, to get your hands on this piece. So probably the only time I'll ever try it on, but it was a pleasure to try it. Incredible, and yeah, a great experience with Lange. Really impressed with what they're doing, but yeah, really cool, sporty, all gold piece. Very cool to see.
Yep, and closing our watches. This is the last one, guys, and what a one to go out on. It is the Lange Söhne Minute Repeater Perpetual in platinum. So there's a perpetual calendar, 40.5 millimeter diameter. It is absolutely stunning. Perpetual calendar, moon phase, enamel black dial, amazing black subdials. It's a very monochrome watch, going perfectly with the platinum, but with a very dark and mysterious edge to it. A big date. What I love about Lange Söhne is the big date they have, and it's at 12 o'clock. And it's, to me, again, is, I wouldn't say the star of the show, but is definitely a big star of Watches and Wonders. And I'm glad we saved this till the end, if you're still here. If you're still here, please, I'm glad you're still here to hear about this watch, because it is absolutely stunning. Check out the show notes to see this one. Limited to 50 pieces, and it's got this really firm alligator folding clasp strap. It was a real treat to see it. It was something special. There's some watches that you try on and you think, oh, that's a nice watch, you know, like, oh, that's a nice historic watch, like the Tanker Guichet. And then you got cool watches like Norqain, which Andy's about to tell you about. And then you've got watches that you wear and you just think, I will not forget this experience, because this is something, this is a treat. This is an experience I'll probably not have again, and I'm just making the most of it. I'll get as many pictures as I can and I'll talk about it as much as I can. But the show has to end, so I'm going to have to stop talking about it. So, Andy, tell us all about Norqain.
Yeah, we were saying the final watch. Sorry, we do have one more.
One more.
But we're nearly there. And if you can hear the fatigue in our voices, it's like we've done the whole show all over again mentally. And I think we're equally as exhausted again. So very quickly, Norqain, look, great experience, really cool guys who we got to sit with. So we got to sit with Toby and some of the other guys from Norqain. Very chill, very nice way to close Watches and Wonders for us, because it was just a nice group, very chilled out, really nice way of explaining the pieces. And of course, the new novelty was the new Wild One Skeleton in 39mm now, playing with some new colours, some new textures. So the one which stood out to me was the purple ice. It had a really cool look to it. Again, something what you find running through this theme is some of our favourite pieces were the watches which just matched our outfits quite well. I was wearing this blue Oxford shirt, and this ice blue strap had the same kind of patterning to the Oxford shirt I was wearing. So very cool. I really like what they do with that Nortec carbon fibre case. I mean, it has that like cool blue, icy blue shock absorber, what's kind of sandwiched between the case. Just, yeah, I'd say it's, maybe I'm going a bit bold to say this, but I think the Wild One's a bit of an icon. Instantly recognisable, aesthetically pleasing, very easy to wear, very comfortable on the wrist. And yeah, it was my first time with Norqain and my first time trying the Wild One. and I was really impressed. I really liked it. But Pam, which one jumped out at you?
This is the last watch. It was the Wild One Skeleton 39mm in hyper pink. Yep, pink. It's just such a fun watch. When you try it on and you meet the people, you realize how much fun they have, the energy they have. And also another thing that swung it my way is one of their brand ambassadors is Gigi Buffon, former goalkeeper of Juventus Football Club in Italy and the Italian national side. And he was at the event. We missed him, but his goalkeeping shirt used to be pink. His club, Juve, used to be associated with the colour pink at times. And it was a watch he had on, and I just thought, okay, this is really cool. I kind of associated it as the Buffon watch, the Gigi Buffon watch. And yeah, very cool. I mean, pink watches are very cool now. It's not a pink dial. It's got a carbon case. It's got the pink strap. It's got the ears, like almost like the Nautilus. It's got the ears on the side, which are pink. So the crown guards and the left-hand sided ear. And yeah, don't need to say anything more than that. Very cool.
Yeah, that's it. We made it. Hopefully you did.
You have the listeners. You're still listening? Are you still subscribing?
Are you still here? Oh, gosh, what a marathon. But I think that emphasizes just how much of a marathon it is in real life. Like, it's an absolute honor to be there, a privilege, but it's equally exhausting to make sure you go, see, understand the concept behind the brands for watches, and then hopefully we convey that in the best possible way to you, our listeners. So thank you so much for listening this far. We really hope we captured the magic of Watches and Wonders for you. But any last comments, Pam?
Yeah, I don't think you kind of, part of me thinks we haven't done it justice, but we've done a long show. We put in what we can, and we hope you enjoy the content, and we hope to see you at Watches and Wonders next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we should sign off. I'll make it short and sweet from my side. It is an absolute pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and it is adios and hasta luego, and you will hear me on the next one. Thank you for listening.
And as Andy tries to keep himself awake from Barcelona in Spain, from London, it's Toodle Pip and laters, and we'll see you, and you'll hear us in the next one.